Okay, we are live. I would say hello to somebody, but I have no idea where the chat has gone, if there is a chat at all. Chat settings done. Okay, hello somebody, hello. This is all pretty much new, so we have no idea what we're doing here, but we'll work it out eventually. We'll see how it goes. Oh my god, there's two people watching. Hello. I'm trying to work out where chat goes, how to get to any of this stuff. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. But we will work it out as we go. I can actually share it apparently, so I will share that over to Facebook and see if anybody wants to come and join us. Let's see. I'm running all of this off my laptop, so everything's going to be potentially a little slow. Apparently it's holding up pretty well, but we will see how everything goes along. Hello everyone, we're live. Let's post that. There we go. Okay, back to this. Can I see any chat coming up anywhere? Let's see. Slow mode, no. Okay, cool. Well, I would move everything around, but unfortunately I have no idea what's going on. Okay, there we go, that's a little better. There we go. If you can hear me, let me know in the comments and I will be able to work out if everything's going okay. That's all set up, so if I switch over to the next camera, I might be able to see if that one's working. Although everything's very delayed, so we have no idea. There we go. Okay, well I can see that now, so that's looping through to me. So there we go. So we've got two windows set up. We should be able to get some decent idea of, give you a decent idea of how the unbuild is going and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm wondering if we wait for anybody else to pop along, or should we just get started? Let's see. Okay, I am not entirely sure if this is all going live to anyone. For all I know, it could be me just watching it through. Who knows? Let's see, how do you tell if something is actually live? Stream health, yes, that's working okay. Anybody there? Just trying to work out who we've got in the comments. Could be my mum. For all I know. No, she doesn't. She's not on the internet that much. But yeah, see if anybody's in the comments. See if anybody's checking out what's going on. And we'll start when we have some sort of confirmation of somebody being here. Or potentially we just call this off and have it as a sort of test. I mean, this has worked, so we do know it works. Potentially, we have nobody come in and say hello yet, so we'll see if anybody shows up. But I would start doing something, but I actually have no idea if anybody is even here, so we'll just hold off. If anybody is there, we're just going to hold off until we get some sort of sign of life. So we're still waiting for people to pop up. Apparently we've got two. That could be me and somebody else. Or it could be two other people. Or a combination of both. Well, I don't even know the combinations that could be. But we're still waiting on some people to pop up. Just wondering how accurate the measurements are of how many people are actually watching this. What I should really do is schedule this for a certain time, and then people will know what's what, and then there'll be a better chance of people popping up, saying hello. Coming up to 10 minutes. 10 minutes, only two people. One of those could be me. I'm trying to work out if it's even reporting to anyone, because I can't really tell. Here's an option. Gonna go in incognito and check out YouTube and see if it pops up on my channel. Could that have been it? Oh my god, that was it. Could do with getting a better shot, but I don't know how. Stream options. Play the CNC. Let's see. Change thumbnail. Change thumbnail to what? I don't know. I haven't really got anything. Change it to plant. Haven't got any banners. Just take a picture again. Hello? Is somebody there? I don't know. Just makes me look aggressive. I'm not that aggressive. How do you change these things? Stream options? No idea. Basic info? No idea. If anybody's there, post in the chat. I have no idea what's going on. Change thumbnail. I don't know. Probably better change it to that at least. This doesn't look horrendous. Thumbnail updated apparently. Stream options. 7 new. Let's see if I go out of here. It says 2 people are watching and I have no idea what that means. Is that just me? Someone else? Okay, well, presuming this is working. Oh my god, we have someone here. That's amazing. Hello, how are you doing? It's just been me. I had it on pause or unlisted for 10 minutes. It was just me talking to me. The good luck last week. Thank you very much. I'm not sure whether we just crack on and we see how things go, or we hang on and see if anybody else turns up and then start things off there. Did a little bit of prep today. I suppose the camera's over there, so if I talk to you that way, it's probably better. But yes, camera's set up so we can do a little bit of a sort of up, down, side thing. So side thing. So I'll put it back to the other one though. I'm just going to hold on, see if anybody else turns up. Let me know what you think, if it's worth holding on or if it's worth doing anyway, or just stopping here and then I can just do this by myself and perhaps prep something a little better in terms of timing, because this was really just a rush at the last second to see if we can get something going, some sort of test. But I could just do it anyway, and it could just be yourself and me, and we'll just get on with it that way, I suppose. It's actually really strange looking at a live feed, because I see myself about, I don't know, 10-15 seconds after I talk, so it's trying to get adjustments of how to work with that. But anyway, yes. Sure, hold on, more will come. Okay, fantastic. Well, we'll just hold on for a little bit longer. But anyway, as it's just yourself and myself, then we can, I don't know, have a chat just between ourselves. In terms of, I was going to do this on Twitch initially, but I did post out that that video asking people what they prefer, so I thought I'd throw it on YouTube, seeing as most people like that. I didn't actually reply to many people when it came to the comments at that point, because I was just rushing, trying to get something sorted out so I could work out how this all works. And it turns out that it works relatively okay. I'm using OBS. If you've used OBS, it's a bit of a pain trying to work out how the mixer corresponds to the sources and the scenes and that sort of stuff, which got it right underneath the camera I'm using right now. But we will see. We will see. Just out of curiosity, did you check out the build for this? Is this something you've seen, or is this going to be the first time you've checked this this case out? Let me know, and we'll see. We'll see if it's going to be your first time checking this one out. It was a pretty good case. Only issue I had with it, if you didn't check it out, was the cable management at the back. The bulge was not big enough, which was probably the highlight of that video. But yeah, that wasn't big enough, and really it could have been bigger. An extra 5mm on the width would have done far better. But I'll have to see. I'll have to ad-lib stuff until more people come and see how that goes. But there we go. If you've got any questions, of course, fire them away. Even if it's just stuff to do in the background that I can point out, bring forward, have a little bit of a chat about, and that sort of thing, then I will do so until we get to a point where we're ready to start. But yeah, really it's just me talking to myself though at the moment, which seems really strange. Because chat is going to be delayed, so anything you type will be like 15 seconds behind. So if I go on about something stupidly for 15 seconds after you type something, then I apologise in advance, because that's just how it works. But anyway, so I suppose I kind of think we should just sort of crack on. We'll just get going and build this and just see how everything goes. But let me know if you think it's better to hold on until we get a few more people in. We're not going to be expecting the world, of course. I think we're probably going to be looking at around maybe 5 people at a maximum for this one, which is expected. We didn't prepare this at all. We didn't put out any feelers to anyone on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. It was very much just ad lib, try something on the spot. So we'd be doing good with 5. If we prepared, we'd be doing good with 10, I think, but we'll see. It's funny though, having a channel of 1,000 subscribers now, that realistically, probably if you get, I don't know, 10% of that to come along, that would be extremely rare, from what I can tell, because anything I tune into channels here and there, like Squirrel and that sort of stuff, and he does live streaming, and of course the numbers for live streaming are so much lower than your normal than your subscriber count, or in fact in some cases your view count. So there we go. We'll see. Of course, I can't actually see on the chat as well when things are actually posted, so I have absolutely no idea. Apparently I can put you in timeout or add you as a moderator. That's something I didn't know. I should probably centralize this more to where the camera is. If I send that over there. I've got basically my laptop. If I had a mirror, do I have a mirror in this room? I don't think I have got a mirror. I would be able to show you exactly what the setup looks like. Because essentially my laptop is on a box, and laptop's on a box. The webcam is at the moment on the laptop. I have got the other camera positioned to for a second. So I've got this one set up here to be able to capture all sorts of desk stuff going on. And yeah, then I have another screen next to, which I've been watching a fair bit. So if I transition back, eventually we'll have some sort of banners, lower thirds, things like that. But at the moment we are pretty much just two webcams, or well, basically yeah, two webcams, one integrated into the laptop just above the monitor, and one in the at the top right. That's a Logitech C920, so pretty decent one, to be fair. A lot of people use that for live streaming and that sort of stuff. Not necessarily in full 1920 by 1080, because it does actually lose quite a lot of quality when it comes to the video footage, especially when you stretch it out that far. Actually, setup for this thing was an absolute nightmare, to be fair. OBS is not the most intuitive program, but I suppose it is better than quite a lot of other programs. I suppose programs I use in work are far worse, but there we go. Far worse, far better. They excel in certain areas, but the 920 is not a bad one to start with. So yeah. I'm probably, no doubt, just pretty much talking about. Oh my god, there's another thing. I'm new to the channel, only watched a few videos, but I'm down for a live stream. But yeah, if you didn't announce it on Twitter or anything, maybe not many people will catch. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm expecting. So yeah, you're right on the same lines as I am at the moment. But I gotta do this unboxing anyway. Just out of curiosity, are you looking to hang around for 10 minutes, or just leaving it in the background while you do other stuff, or all that sort of stuff? Because if it's essentially just going to be yourself and myself attending this, and me being the actual person making it, that would be pretty poor audience turnout. But if it's essentially just going to be me and you, then I could just do this anyway. Or I could really just shut the stream down whenever you shoot off. If it just turns out that for the next half an hour it's just myself and yourself and you've got to shoot off, then I'll probably just shut it down there and then prepare something a little bit better for when I've got to do another dismantling of a case like this, or doing some sort of build. Because essentially I've got, actually I'll bring it forward now just for fun. Essentially I've got this, which is my test bench, and I'm not sure if you've seen much of it. I'll put it on there, just about sits on here. Not sure you've seen much of this. But yeah, this is the test bench. It's a Thermaltake Core P3. Very interesting case, or chassis as it were. I don't actually need these bars on here. They are to hold a panel, which is actually in the box, which you can see potentially, well, it's just behind there. That panel's in the box. It's acrylic. You can actually get a glass upgrade to it, which is pretty impressive. But it is not the cheapest thing, but as a test bench it's built like a tank. It's pretty much 1 mil thick steel all over, which is pretty damn strong. It hasn't got the back plate on it at the moment. The back plate is down on the base, on the floor. So yeah, this is what we're going to be basically putting, or this is what we're putting into the test bench. So we need to get out the CPU's not a problem. We've actually got two 6700Ks in total. So we've got one in the test bench as a permanent feature, and we've also got one in the in this QS-240 at the moment, and that is there so we can flip between different test bench stuff and case stuff. It means I can always have a system up and running at any point. So if that's something new, since you're new to the channel, if that's something you're not entirely aware of, then yeah, that's how that goes. But essentially we'd be taking the drives and the RAM from this, putting it into here, but we will be doing the entire dismantling of this, potentially on live stream. But if things don't accelerate from here, then we'll probably shut the live stream down. I'll just do a quick dismantling of it myself, and that sort of thing. So yes, but again, any questions about any of this, then we'll crack on. We are actually doing a review of the Cryorig M9, which is a pretty interesting cooler so far. It's got some interesting mounting mechanism stuff. I'll be doing a review of that. The whole thing will be coming out in the next, let's say week. Give myself a week for that. I've got all the footage, haven't edited any of it yet, but I do need to do the live testing. I do need to do the thermal testing on here, which we will be needing to mix up in the future. I might do some gaming testing, adding that to the general mix of synthetic testing with Prime 95 and Combustor, that sort of stuff. But of course, Combustor is for a graphics card, so obviously not going to be doing that. But anyway, that's pretty much that. So that would be today's sort of end goal, which is pretty achievable. We've got essentially 4 hours to do this until I probably need to sleep. No, 4 hours. 4 hours. 10 o'clock. Who goes to bed at 10? But anyway, 10 o'clock would probably be a good shut off. Not that I'd be live streaming all the way until then, but there we go. So that's that. I'm going to throw this back. It's actually got all sorts of Velcro straps, which is just getting caught to everything. So we'll throw that back there. There we go. Oh, so apparently we have 3 people watching. Now that could be me. Oh my god, the sickness 1234. Hello, how are you doing, man? Oh, one of probably the, I don't know, Haj, it's a Haj, H-A-J, Haj, is apparently new to the channel, so the Sickness 1234 is just an absolute boss when it comes to essentially reviewing my reviews, which is pretty interesting. Loads of really effective criticism and comments that I can use to update everything, to update the next videos and the way I do things to make sure everything's all good. So we have 2 viewers. Now that's potentially a platform for us to start. The first 10 minutes I was live streaming was in private on an unlisted setting, and I thought it was to people, so I spent 10 minutes talking to myself. So yeah. So it's up to you two if you want to. It's funny enough, it's up to you two guys if you want to crack on, get started. Then we can fire away with unboxing this, throw out questions, general chit chat in the comments, and I'll do my best to keep track and answer whatever's going on. Hopefully, if you can see camera, then you'll get a better look at the audio solution for this live stream, which is janky as all hell. It's on a acoustic sort of. It's not a dampener, it's just one of those panels which has had a bit cut out. But yes, honoured, thanks for the introduction. Yes, well, you need an absolute introduction, absolute legend on this channel, so you deserve all that. But anyway, so this is sort of janky audio solution. Essentially, it's just on there so it dampens the vibrations and stuff when I'm knocking things like the box onto the case onto the desk and that sort of stuff, so it doesn't appear to be too irritating for you guys. So if you essentially want to transition back there, if you want to get started now, let me know and I will do my best to make this probably quick. Seeing as you have 2 people, then I suppose it's something to go on, but I could do a speed unboxing. I think that'd probably be one of the best things I could do as a first video, which hasn't really been set up and prepared for first live stream. Then yeah, that'd probably be the best way to go. So what do you think? Speed unboxing, and then we'll just see how quickly we can dismantle this. I will be dismantling it back to its bare bone parts, so all the components will essentially be going back into their boxes, apart from the ones that I need to keep for the testing of the Cryorig M9. So yeah. It's up to you, buddy. I'll be watching. Awesome. So yeah, so I think it's the Sickness 1234. Let me know what you think if we get cracking now. Then yeah, well, hopefully we'll have this unbuilt within an hour. And yeah, I can't imagine it'll take much longer than that, to be honest. And then throwing in the parts for the test bench is probably going to be another, I don't know, 10 minutes. So it shouldn't be too bad. But again, I'll try to keep up with any comments that pop around. We might hit 5. We might hit the milestone of 5 viewers, which would be interesting. But there we go. Okay, well, all I think we're going to do, considering it seems to be quite sort of open between the 2 of you, which is for a live stream, the 2 of you. You never hear that on a live stream or anything that's actually serious. What I think we'll do is we'll just go for a speed unboxing, a speed dismantling of this system. I think what I might need to do is, I think I'll switch over to the other camera. Family meeting meaning you're at a family meeting, or this is a family meeting, just the 3 of us. It could be. I don't know. Apparently there's 3 people watching. My mum could be watching. Or my girlfriend, but I don't think she has a YouTube account. I don't know if she does have a YouTube account, actually. She must do. She subscribes to people, so she must have one. Although she hasn't reared her head into the comments yet, which probably won't happen. But there we go. So, okay, the other camera, and we'll get ready for some sort of speed unboxing, or unbuild. Oh no, this here. Yeah, so, yeah, family meeting. Who knows? It'll probably end up we're related somehow. I don't know. before we get any weirder than that, let's go with an unboxing. I can't call these unboxings. I just do too many of them. But yeah, as for future videos, we have actually got some pretty cool stuff coming up. I managed to do the dust video. I shall get a tray actually. Actually, this is the tray for the Aerocool unboxing or unbuilding, or building in the first place that I did. We've got some pretty cool content coming up. I managed to do the dust thing with my friend, and that was an extremely interesting video. There's some really interesting results that came from there, and I'm not going to sway either way as to which way they went, but they were interesting nonetheless. Funnily enough, actually, let me grab this quickly. Seeing as we're live stream, I would have thought this would be quite interesting to show you guys. This was a Snickers wrapper that was taken from the... Oh, hello, Expert Plays. Oh my god, we have 4 people. Let me transition back to this just to say a proper hello. Hello, Expert Plays. So, we have 4 people now. How are you doing? Like I'm waiting for a response. We have 4 people now. We might make it to a milestone of 5 if we're lucky. But yeah, like I was saying, I did the dust build, the sort of dust cleaning up video that I said I would be doing with my friend. Managed to record that. I'm not going to edit it yet until we get monetized to make sure I'm not spending time on anything in different places. Nice to hear you're good. Notification. Strange, no notification. I'm doing well, thank you very much. So this Snickers wrapper actually came out of my friend's system. It was stuck in the side panel, and it's dated back to, it's a best before the 8th of the 5th, 2016. So this was, I mean, I don't know how long Snickers last for, and when he probably ate this, but if 16 is a use-by date, it's got to be pretty bad. So we grabbed this out of the side panel when we were doing the dust video, which I thought was pretty bad. So that video is going to be a great one for all you guys to watch. I'm yet to edit it, like I say. Looking forward to the one. Okay, so I'm going to crack on with getting this thing unboxed. Now, I'll flip between views. Unfortunately, the lighting for these videos is pretty terrible. The one you're seeing right now, the webcam, is in the housing of my laptop screen, just above it. Just above the screen. Obviously, the lighting is not great. I've actually got both my softboxes lighting everything up here, hoping to make a difference to the Logitech C920, which we have on a tripod up here. The lighting gets worse somehow. So yeah, I haven't really got a lot of control over it. Logitech software is not letting me do much in terms of edit all the settings for that. Hopefully the audio is okay and I'm not bashing things about too badly. So we got the side panel off. I see you streaming. Well, I'm really happy to actually have 4 people enjoying the stream, potentially enjoying the stream. I won't go far as to speak for you guys, but yeah. So let's do some sort of speed unboxing. Speed unboxing. I've called it unboxing 5 times now, so I'm gonna skip that and we'll just crack on with unbuilding this thing. I'm not sure which view to show. I think potentially to start off with, I will go into the forward-facing camera. Actually, if I potentially can, I would say raise the table, but if I can potentially raise the platform that I am unboxing or unbuilding on, then that might be better. Or lower that one somehow, or just lean it. I don't know. I haven't really got a very flexible setup here. It would be good if I could do something about that. But anyway, I'll just crack on with what I've got now, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's get unbuilding. This one I've managed to screw on with a screwdriver, so we're going to take that off straight away. So the plan is, for this live stream, for those of you who have joined, we have 5 people now. This is incredible. Switch my PC shortly. Still on iPhone, stream is fine for me. Good sound and starting. Fantastic. I did spend about, let's say, try and be nice to myself, an hour in OBS trying to set up all the audio and stuff and make sure that it was a-okay. But of course when you upload you have no idea what's going on, hence why you see all sorts of Linus tech tips. J2Sense actually seems to be really good at setting up live streams. I think he's... oh yeah, this one was really hard to get off. J2Sense was really all of the live streaming stuff up when he was, or when he is now, returned to doing streams with Barnacles. But yeah, this one was an absolute nightmare to put on. If you saw the unboxing or the build of this, all these cables here, you'll be able to see I didn't actually capture some footage of that. The indent in the cables up top here, I might be able to lift. Really, I should have a flexible camera that I can dismount and mount, but you might be able to see the indentations. You can see it in the blue cable there. There you go. The indentation in the cable because of that panel has been squeezed on. Just in time. Hello, Tech Tip. How are you doing? Fantastic. Do you download Fortnite on iOS? Okay, you guys chat between each other, that's awesome. I haven't actually got iOS if that was directed to me. Because I'm on Android. I'm on sort of, what am I using now? I'm using whatever it is in this case. It is a Honor 7, that's the one. Cannot remember it because it's been a while since I've had a new phone, to be fair. But it's running still pretty good, so can't really complain. Glad you're on YouTube easier. Yeah, I thought it might be. If I just change to this for now. Transition back. I thought it might be a little bit easier. I thought it would be better to start off with, at least, because I haven't really got many subscribers, of course, and not that many, of course, if you bottle that down, would be interested in watching a live stream. Then trying to transport you guys over to Twitch, if you don't use Twitch or anything like that, would be a bit of a pain. So yeah. So let's get cracking. In terms of dismantling this, I'm going to call it unboxing for the rest of the video, so just excuse that. Where to start is the question. I mean, you can actually start anywhere you like. What I'm going to do actually is do some of the easy stuff, which is going to be getting rid of that drive. Not much of a chance. Okay, we'll do GPU first. We'll go for GPU. The other screen, because I think that's just going to be easier for most people to keep track of, and I'll try and show what I can while I'm doing this. But of course, since this is a live stream, this is not exactly the best place to do this. My friend has actually got another Logitech C920. I'll see if I can pay him to use that every now and then if I do live streams. It would be good if I could. Oh, every single time I've done this, I've actually had to take the graphics card out a few times now, and I end up doing the same thing. There's this little panel on the back which you need to take off before you can even attempt to unscrew the screws that are actually part of holding in the GPU in the back, and it's an absolute pain. And the only reason I think this is really here, you can see there, is just to cover up the gap there. It doesn't actually do anything to hold the graphics card in place, and I don't know why you would end up putting that on after or to hold in the graphics card. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but either way, it's a bit of a pain. So that's gone now. Question, anyone know good upgrade? Old 930 rig. Oh wow, 930. What did I have? I had something from that generation. I still have it actually. I could do a video on that if anybody would be interested in that. So if you're going to be going for an upgrade on there, I'm presuming you're going to be you're thinking of an entire upgrade for everything. I don't know that motherboard off by its name, but I'm presuming you're going to be looking to do an entire upgrade of the whole thing, because I mean, if that motherboard, if it's part of that generation, then you're getting a new graphics card is probably going to be a bit of a pain, because you might not have PCI Express for Gen 3, which I actually had an issue with when I was upgrading from that generation of Intel. So yeah, so now I need to find myself the ruler to be able to get that out of there, and it's one of those things which of course you never prepare. I mean, I suppose I could try and get a finger in there to do that. Okay, that actually was much easier than I thought it would be. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to switch things up just so I don't know, don't get too static, too bored. Yeah, I definitely think the fourth series, or you know, the 4000 series, Intel CPUs were definitely really strong. I think from what I can remember with the Dust build that I just did with friend Joe, he's still running one from that generation, and it's doing him really well. I mean, because they were fast, they still are fast compared to what we've got today. I mean, they're not hitting 5 gigahertz, but I mean, who really runs at 5 gigahertz anything anyway? But anyway, okay, back to unboxing. Now, what I might do is shift the camera up across to it and then shift it, because I'm unprofessional like that. And we can do some more interesting unbuilding sections. There we go. That might be a little bit better for you guys. Okay, cool. So gonna have to flip it up and down constantly to be able to do this properly. We're gonna want to take the CPU cooler out first, because that's just a big piece of metal in the way. So what I'll do is I'm gonna have to carry on remembering to flip forwards and backwards with everything to make sure you guys are getting a good view, because it is completely unlike any other recording that I've done so far, in the sense that you need to make sure you're on top of everything, so that people are always getting a good view all the time. Because I mean, doing normal videos for just your standard review is so simple in the sense that you can just set the tripod up and not really worry about it from that point on. So what I'm going to do is, just from this angle here, just for ease of viewing, I'm going to take the CPU fan header out. That might be a bit of a pain to get past the motherboard, but we will see. One of the big problems actually with this system is the front I/O, or the front or top I/O. I'm not sure what to call it. You may notice when I'm doing videos that that I always mention like front, top I/O, and it's at the top, but it's the front, and a lot of people associate front I/O with the bits at the top. Who knows? But yeah, so essentially the front I/O is really awkward, and I wasn't able to stick in the top front fan, top front fan, because of all these cables. They had to go somewhere, and they went straight through the slot for a top fan. So if you had a better setup, or if I'd worked at it maybe a little better, that might have been relieved. So yes, one thing I'm actually going to do before we crack on with anything is remove all these cable mod cables away from here. Cable mod lighting strips. They're pretty good. I mean, in quite a lot of videos I've made, I've actually sort of not slated them as such, but I have said that they're not really worth what they are. I mean, I do think they produce, well, at least from the lighting strips I've used. I'm actually quite an avid LED lighting strip user. From all the lighting strips I've used, I find that they are by far the brightest ones. And they are very simple because they have the magnetic range, which I'm using with all the builds I do. But they are expensive. They are very expensive. They're not really affordable for most people, I would have thought, because especially if you're using a case like this. I mean, this case is £30, and you end up having lighting strips that cost, like, all in all, something like £60 to £70. It's ridiculous. I'm going to catch up with chat here. Plugin Hunter, okay, we're going to a X 560 50 50, cost around £30. Wondering, oh cool, oh so you're going with Xeon, are you? Very interesting. 32 gig of DDR4. What are you doing with 32 gig of DDR4? I'm presuming something to do with editing or some sort of something like that. I mean, I'm looking at the point now where I'm hitting 24 gigs now, and I've only got 24 gigs of capacity in this system. You can see I've got my jumble of RAM in there that's doing somewhat decent job. But anyway, back to the actual unbuild. The big problem was that got in the way of everything was the front I/O. So removing that is probably going to be something that is, since it was one of the last things to go in, probably the best thing if it's the first thing to come out. So I'll flip this back around and we'll actually view, just so we can unravel all this from the system. So are we going with 32 gigs of brand new DDR4? Are you going to try and buy that on eBay or wherever you are in the world? because RAM is expensive now, and I have personally I've got a PC part picker showing through all of the latest deals, latest discounts, although it is very misleading watching the PC part picker list fly by, because you just get a lot of 1% savings and stuff here and there, and you need to actually check out what the market average is before checking, oh, it's a 20% saving, and it turns out the market average is, well, 20% off anyway. So yeah, that's something that needs to be looked at. But yeah, I'm looking for a, what was I looking for? A 2 sets of 16, or well, a set of 32, so 2 sticks of 16 to be able to go into the, which I will transition back, to go into this board, which you will be seeing very soon. I may as well do this since all of you guys have made the dedication to set your live time apart to say hello on here. This is, and I have actually unboxed this prior, sorry for all of the rustling, prior to this video or this live stream. This is, which video camera have I got? This one. So there we go. This is a gaming gigabyte something. I can't remember forgetting the name of these things, but it is a GA something. Where is the box? Z270N Gaming 5 gigabyte mini ITX board. This is what we're going to be using for doing mini ITX builds, such as the Aerocool CR280, which I've said many times in many different videos and said I'll be doing that video next, but then it turns out something crops up and I need to sort that out. That connector there is something that I hadn't seen before. Wondering if anybody else knows what that is. That's actually some sort of connection to this sort of control hub thing, and from memory it might be something to do with the power supply unit, but again, not something that I am completely clued up on. But that is a gigabyte specific, like, proprietary connector. It's called an Octcon, OCT_CON. So it's up to you if you want to check that out. But it's some sort of monitoring control unit or something like that. Yeah, PC Park in the UK. Yes, we have PC Park in the UK. But I gotta catch up with so much stuff. I got Corsair DDR4 before price rise. Oh, well done. Paid £100 off someone non-techie. Fantastic. That's a great deal. Yeah, PC Park in the UK. Yes, we have PC Park in the UK. There's also have it in America. It's actually really useful when somebody from, say, America comes along and says, well, can you advise this and that and whatever and what I should get. It's a lot easier to be able to jump onto the US PC part picker and say, well, this is in budget for you, rather than saying, well, this is in budget in the UK. So that's really useful. But I think PC part picker is in quite a few countries. I can only speak for the UK and now Germany, it would appear, and the US. So it would appear that those are the sort of at least some of the main operations. Anyway, back to RAM stuff. Yeah, RAM we're looking to get 2 sticks of 16 gig, because that mini ITX board, as well as pretty much every mini ITX board that I know, unless you think, I think you can go for the X series boards, which are obviously for the extreme range of Intel boards and that sort of stuff. You can stick sometimes 4 in the mini ITX variants of those, but again, that's not my strong suit, so I shouldn't really speak much for that. We have 7 people. Oh my god. I know it from this, and I realised it was global now. Oh, you. Hello, you're back. Yeah, Z170M mortar. Yes, we actually have Z170M mortar in this. Every time I do this case, I try and take the top panel off, because I'm just a little bit too used to doing that in most other situations. I'm trying to get the front panel off to see if I can get access to the top, so I can get this front I/O out without sort of, I don't know, half-assing it essentially, trying to get it out just by yanking the thing off. It's a little bit tricky though. This case with this much stuff in is actually ridiculous to try and get off. I'll just hug it for a bit and see if it comes off. There you go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, you can yank these panels off. They have got like pushy here. They've got these little squeezy sort of push bits, and you can those slots into the front end, the front of the chassis. You can yank it off. I don't personally feel that yanking it off is anything that's, I don't know, something that should be followed. It's undignified, yanking off. But yeah, so it's something that I definitely feel that. Am I back to normal? Yes, I am. Getting used to OBS as well. Everyone's just going to need to bear with me on these sorts of things. Oh, I actually pulled it off before. Well, there we go. So that's taking out. Can we slide that past? Instead, what we're going to back to the other camera, and we'll take that rear fan off first. This one thing that actually pushed me to do this live streaming thing was I was actually checking out last night. Was it last night or the night before? It was the night before, actually, yeah. I was checking out on Twitch and just seeing, hey, how many people do the whole sort of PC stuff on Twitch and live streaming stuff and whatever. And I've seen a couple of Linus Tech Tips streams where he's done unbuilding of I think the 7 gamers, 1 CPU build and that sort of thing. But I didn't really know anything apart from that, if it was very popular. And I used to actually play World of Tanks, and I quite enjoyed doing that, because it was one of those games which you can jump in and out, and it wasn't too fast-paced. I'm not the most amazing gamer. But yeah, there was Quickie Baby was doing a build of his dream setup, and it was an amazing setup. But there was all sorts of... I've never seen somebody build a computer by reading the motherboard manual so closely anyway. Getting bits and bobs here and there from it, yeah, fair enough. But doing the whole reading the manual piece by piece was a little bit too much to bear in terms of watching that happen. So I was thinking, Christ, we could do something with this. We could actually make some sort of, I don't know, live streaming thing, sort of semi-regularly, maybe once every other week, once a week, really depending on the amount of reviews we can get done in a certain period of time. Let's see, just catching up with chat. What were my parts yesterday? Can't wait. Very, very good luck for the build. Best of luck for that. 200G, 40W EVGA, 16 gig RAM, very nice. 128 blue, and then yes, 128 gigabyte SSD, perfect. Very good, yes, need that SSD. I couldn't recommend anybody else or anybody to have a computer these days without an SSD. Hard disk drives, they're okay for the first, I don't know, you can get away for a year. It's kind of like a phone. You can get away with, nearly dropped that, with the performance of a phone being, you know, perfect for a year. Although these days, I mean, the phone I have right now, the Honor 7, is actually okay. But past that, with a hard drive, you're going to see a lot of drop off in its performance, especially when you load that thing with more data. It's better if you have a much larger cache, so you can get 128 meg caches, and they obviously operate a little bit quicker in terms of response. But I mean, apart from that, can I not get that USB 3.0 out? Yes, I can. Apart from that, yeah, you're going to want an SSD for the future, for the long term. Okay, that's that. I'm sort of stacking things on the side here. Okay, so we're in a decent position. I think we're in a position where we can get that CPU cooler out without too much of a problem. Back. I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm keeping on top of the live stream and everything like that. See if I can get a better view of the CPU cooler as it comes out of the build. I'm going to need to lean it up to get these fan cables out. In terms of brightness, it's not the best view. What I'll do is I'll bring down the camera. This is all very much, very, very live. But we all have to start somewhere. Let's see if we can change that as well. This is actually a tripod. This is the first tripod I started out with when I was doing the first videos. When I was using, actually, this is a bit of a blast. I'm going to throw this out. When I was using this, it's a FinePix S Fujifilm. I bought this when I was in university, and I was, going on sort of site visits to some sort of buildings and stuff like that. And it recorded 60 frames per second. It was mainly used for its ability to shoot footage. I don't think I have any batteries in it, so I can't actually check out. Oh my gee whiz, I have got batteries in it. I wonder if it'll start up, because there was one feature with this which you could always appreciate, which was just length and girth. Couldn't really beat that, could you? But anyway, yeah, this a great ability to zoom in, although it was a pain, and it is a bridge camera, so it's nowhere near as usable as the camera I'm using now, which I won't get out because that's just wasting time for everyone. But it's the Canon 80D, which runs like an absolute trooper. Every time I do this, I always forget to pop the RAM out first. So let's pop that back in. Get those two out first, and then we'll get these two out second. 2 sets at a time, every time. There we go. So we'll throw those to the side. Those are going to be used on the test bench, of course, because we're not exactly flush with RAM, but we try our best. I'm just catching up with chat. I go silent every now and then. I haven't passed away, or the audio hasn't gone. I'm just checking out stuff. Got it on my 40 gig Windows 10. Oh no! Put on your 6 terabyte by accident. Okay, well done. On your SSD, yes, they very much need that. Cutting mats, yes, I had this cutting mat, and why did I get this cutting mat? That's a very good question. But the question that nobody asked, apart from me. But I got this cutting mat for some reason. I can't remember why. But it was a reason, I swear it was. There was a good reason why I got the cutting mat. Some sort of crafting. I think it was actually in my 2nd or 3rd year of university, when I was trying to build models. And I was like, well, I'll get a proper cutting mat and do stuff like that the right way round, rather than just trying to get some bit of cardboard underneath it and end up stabbing my desk. But I think a cutting mat is actually a fantastic thing to use for your desk. I didn't use the cutting mat when I was building this a whole hell of a lot, and I did end up scraping my desk, which was a bit of a pain, but I'm not gonna go too hard on myself about it. It's IKEA tables, you can literally just change the top if you want to, but for a scratch, I mean, that wouldn't exactly go down very well, for my bank account anyway. Got a Noctua NHD14, £10 off eBay, £10, fantastic. Had bent fins. Oh, brilliant, yeah, there we go. That kind of ingenuity is something that more people should do. £10 for that. And just some bent fins. I mean, I've got one bent fin on this. Maybe I should do an entire video on bending the fins of a... No, I won't do that. But I've got a slightly bent fin in here, and I think it was when I smacked it with a screwdriver. Including posting packaging. That's one hell of a deal. £10. Now, was that from the same country? I presume it was. I presume it was just somebody who didn't really know what they were selling and what it was worth. Or maybe they just couldn't be bothered trying to flog it off at a better price. Or, well, a more reasonable price to them anyway. It's a great price for you. There's one thing that I do want to do in the future, and I've actually got a couple of video ideas for the future, and I will actually change the transition to the other camera while I'm just unscrewing this, just because I can. You do get to a point where you're unscrewing CPU coolers where you can just go hell on one side and it'll be fine, but I generally like to cross pattern it all the time. It's funny buying sewing stuff. Last lady in the store. Should I wear first? And then she realised it was me. God. But yeah, you can, when you're doing a CPU cooler sort of unbuildings, which you're probably all aware of, you just get to a point where it's like, well, you can just go ham on one side and it doesn't really matter. But anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, no, oh yes, I have some pretty interesting ideas for videos. Now, you've heard of probably most by now, which will be AV Techy board to cost 3.1, 15 bucks, 15 pounds, fantastic. Trying to keep with chat is hilariously difficult. Don't know if you know. Actually, I don't think I do know how you look from Facebook. I find it really difficult to keep up with people on YouTube and on Facebook and sometimes on Twitter. I have absolutely no idea. But anyway, yeah, as in terms of ideas that I want to do, or you probably have heard that I want to do a brand new build, a budget build. Wow, this is super overexposed. Okay, now it's better. It's on auto, so I don't really know what's going on. But I do want to do a budget build at some point. The 2400G would likely be that budget build. But I actually want to wait and see, or check out some more stats in terms of graphics, because I'm not sure whether I want to go with... I'm not sure why I made the transition before. Sorry. I want to go with something that's going to have really good graphical quality. So I was thinking perhaps going for a G4560. I think that's the one I was looking at, but I got to find out what the price performance is. I want to go with a new build on that. I don't want to be going with something that's second hand, because I want to go with something that people are comfortable with building. New stuff will generally be better for people like for those sort of things. But yeah, let's have a swig of water. Talk for so long you end up just getting a dry mouth all around. So yeah, I wanted to go with a new build. I was thinking going for some sort of G4650 with a 1050 or 1050 Ti. I wasn't sure which one. I want the entire build, including operating system, to be underneath £500. That would be ideal. So yeah, so there we go. CPU cooler off. You can see we had a plentiful spread of thermal paste on this one, more than enough. I actually wasn't sure with my review of this that I actually had the right amount of thermal paste set on there, because the results came back pretty appallingly. So yeah, I will clean that up in my own time. Shouldn't waste your guys' time with cleaning up things. So yes, but I will need to deal with that. So I will get some tissue paper, which is over there. And some electrical cleaner stuff. WD-40 Specialist Fast Drying Contact stuff. It was on offer. It's basically just stuff for cleaning electrical stuff. Isopropyl alcohol, that sort of stuff. Does exactly the same job. So yeah, it's nothing too arduous to work with. The other camera view. Just catch up with chat a little bit. Hopefully I haven't actually missed anything too bad. Okay, cool. Right. So let's get cleaning up that. Now I know that some people are a little bit irritated by using tissue paper to do this sort of thing, but it really isn't that much of a problem. You're not going to get too many issues with using tissue paper. Now, what to do with it is the hardest bit, because you need to put it in a bin, and for me, I haven't got a bin very near, so I'm just going to put it there. And we'll deal with that later. And we also need another little bit just to make sure that we get the sides. But if you cringe at watching tissue paper cleaning a socket out, I implore you to check out the video that we're doing on dust cleaning. It's something special. It really is something special. Joe, my friend who we were doing the video together. I'll just go back to the other. View, just so we're not getting too stale on one. This is just cleaning out a socket. I think you've all seen this once or twice before. Joe, my friend who were doing the video and whose computer was featuring in the video, is very much very hands-on, very practical, and he can pretty much he works with computer gear all the time. He runs servers and stuff for a company, and it's very interesting because he's so practical, hands-on, very down to earth. He'll say and do, say as it is and do as it is, without much sort of faffing about. But I'm not going to say much more than that, because the video is really worth not spoiling. So hopefully that'll be good for everyone there. So what are we doing in terms of chat? Okay, cool. Everything's good. Right, so that's pretty much cleaned and ready to go. I don't actually need to remove the CPU, but I did want to get that thermal paste off. Otherwise, so transition back to there. We're going to need to unconnect. Either way works, I think, for anyone. Hopefully I don't knock the mouse off the desk or anything else. I'm just trying to find out the best angle to do this for, or do this with. I think what I'll do actually is get a box and prop this side up so you guys can see a little better. But anyways, how is the stream going for you guys? Is it working? Is it working for you? It's sort of working for me, but for all I know is it's broken and I have no idea what's going on. Where's the box? There's the box. There we go. Have to do this relatively regularly in videos just to make sure I get the right angle. Had to do it a lot more when I had worse lighting setups and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and disconnect everything we can at this stage. One thing that was I did find particularly interesting when it came to watching the live stream of Quickie Baby doing his computer was trying to work out the power connectors and trying to get the right 8-pin, 4 pins and that sort of stuff. Actually, I had somebody, I can't remember who it was, in the comments saying that they plugged in a, what was it, a GPU connector into a CPU connector, and funnily enough, it is possible. See all the SATA drives being disconnected now. They're all gone. Are we clear to get this out, apart from getting the rear fan out? But we don't really need to, I suppose. I think we're good to go. So we'll just go ahead and unscrew everything from there. Just got to make sure I find my screwdriver. Oh, there it is. I think we're still live. I think everything's still good. Just catching up to make sure. Oh, I think I've just missed like so many chat messages come through. I think I might have scrolled and it went weird or something. PC part at the moment. Yeah, £150. Let me see. Not paying 100% attention to what I'm doing at the moment, but I'll work out all these screws later as well. Sometimes I have to go through videos to make sure I'm putting the right amount of screws in when I have to sell these cases in the end, and just to make sure that I'm not giving somebody a bit of a poor deal by throwing in the incorrect amount of screws into their case. I'm also trying not to use the ratchet of this screwdriver. I'll actually put it to the central lock to make sure that doesn't happen, because it will be very annoying for you guys. Oh, that didn't come off. There you go. Some slight buffering replays. Sounds sometimes, but it's good. Okay, cool. Some of these things I'm going to have to work on. Others I kind of have that aren't in my control. But what I'll do is, I think I'm going to move the lighting very slightly, just so you guys have got a good view, because I want to make sure that you guys are getting as good as I can give right now. There you go. Hopefully that's a little better for you. But yeah, some of these things I'm going to be able to fix. Others I'm not. And I seem to be doing okay in terms of upload rate. So we're looking at about 6,000 kilobyte a second, or kilobit a second. Kilobyte would be impressive. 1050 Ti 144. Yeah, so in terms of costing and prices of that budget build, I'd be looking at, now I was looking at super dirt cheap, but I also want to go with something that's completely compatible and there's going to be no BIOS issues and that sort of thing. Have we got all of them out? It appears so. So, should just be able to yank this out and hope for the best. Just want to make sure that they are all disconnected. There we go. Not too many bashes. Cool. So that's out now. I'll put it over the side there. And that can be ready to go back in its box. I'll actually put everything in its box at the end of the stream because you guys don't need to see that. But what I'll do is I'll use the minimal space I have here to transition back. There we go. Toilet roll can go. Cool. So we're doing pretty good so far. And we've been technically public live for about an hour. But in terms of actual live, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'm not sure if some of you guys saw. Obviously, there was only like one person here for like the first 10 minutes or something. But yeah, so for the first 10 minutes, I had this this whole live stream on unlisted, and I was talking to myself, and I was trying to work out whether anybody could actually hear anything. Actually, there's a good view I want you guys to see for when you're doing your future build. This connector right up here is an absolute pain. So you can get you a better view by moving this without moving the camera. Holes like this going through the motherboard tray are an absolute pain. Now, I've seen some chat in the chat about new builds, and this is something that you want to check. You want to make sure you keep on top of. Trying to get these sorts of connectors into their positions before putting the motherboard in place is key. Now check out the video for this, the actual review for this case, if you want to see a better angle of this. It's not a perfect angle, but yeah, getting connectors through holes like this when you know that the motherboard is going to cover it is super key to doing a really clean build, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get that CPU connector into this slot once the motherboard's in place. And the last thing you want to do is have to unbuild your motherboard and everything that was on top of there, or disconnect it from your case. So that would be a bad day just to get that CPU connector through. So don't forget the IO shield. That's important for all sorts of reasons. Well, just to make sure you don't jam something through when you're trying to connect something in the back when you're doing all sorts of on-the-fly changes to your system. We will take that fan off now. We've all seen a fan get connected and disconnected, but I suppose what I can do is just switch back momentarily. One thing I'm going to have to work out is I'm just going to throw myself onto a version of this just to make sure that I'm getting the right settings in terms of everything being live and that sort of thing. So that's there. Okay, cool. Okay, so here we are. So back to it. So yeah, we're going to take this fan off. Weird section there when I was just looking blankly at the screen, trying to work out just to make sure everything's okay and live and I'm not talking to myself again. But there we go. So yeah, anyway, back to the new build situation. I want to be super budget. Obviously make sure everything is compatible. I don't want to end up saying, well, this is as good as you're going to be able to get for your money if somebody gets it and they have to do some motherboard jiggery pokery and that sort of stuff. So in terms of motherboard pricing, I was looking at it depends if we go for something overclockable, but I think for a super budget build, and if we're going to be going with a proper graphics card, dedicated graphics card, then we're going to be looking at, I don't know, something that's not overclockable is likely. So a G4 60 or something would probably be a decent ballpark. That happens here and there. I've actually got, I'm not sure if you can see it, no you can't, there's a leg for the tripod running right down here, right behind there, and the screwdriver couldn't make it past it, so sorry for the noise. Happens sometimes. Sound plays when you switch cameras. Light echo in the background. Does it happen just during the camera switch, or is it a constant thing? Is it something that is something that's constant even after a few minutes of or a few seconds of the changeover? Because I've noticed that when I was doing the testings that it would happen for the first few seconds, but then it would sort of fix itself. It's trying to switch the audio source during the transition from one scene to the other, and that might be because I'm fading from one to the other rather than cutting from one to the other. From the cams though, let me do a quick switch and see if I've got okay, yeah, I saw that there was during the transition period there was a messy part where the mixer has two live sources at the same time. I think that's during the 300 millisecond fade, but apart from that I think it's okay. Let me know if it's constant though. Let me know if it's constant on the front camera or the sort of close-up camera, and I will see if I can sort of avoid using those as much as I can. Top to front cam. Okay. If it's constant, then I'll just try and avoid using it as much as I can, because trying to fix it now will probably be more painful for both myself and everyone else than we can all probably bear. That's something that I will have to work on. I think it's just the transition though. I hope it's just the transition anyway. So yeah, so just a little bit of... So if I were to stay... There we go. So I stayed silent during that transition, and hopefully switching front to top. Yeah, what it is, actually, what if I can do this? Gonna be cunning. Oh my god, letting you behind the scenes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'll continue talking. You can see this bar here. I'll continue talking while I transition, and you're gonna be able to potentially, or not now, and switch back, and you'll see that there's two sources up there, and then there's not. So that's during like the 300 millisecond transition, and obviously you can see the absolute delay in the timings between everything. So that's what's happening there. It's a bit of a pain, but it's something we just have to deal with. After all, we don't have the most experienced streamer here doing anything. And that's the kind of noise you don't want to hear too much. But anyway, that's basically what I think the issue is there. What I can do is I'll do something during the... what I'll do is I'll change the transitions to cut. So hopefully that will just switch things, and it won't have such a horrible lag between the two. Let me know if that changes things. Hopefully back now, and no, that hasn't fixed it. Okay, no, that's bad. Something that I'm going to have to work on. But we'll go with cuts for now. Well, actually, we'll move back to fade. Actually, let me know in the comments if that was any better. Nice stream overall. Well, that is extremely kind of you. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are at a pretty bare bones state at the moment. I want to get rid of all of these straps here, because, I mean, that's just holding us back from getting us to the final goal of having this completely unbuilt. Getting these out of the way is, of course, much simpler to be able to remove components in the future. The absolute mess that was the cable management for this system was just absolutely abominable. Trying to fit all of this together. If I can hold this up to you guys, and it's gonna sort of focus in, you're gonna be able to see the mishmash of cables. And if I flip it around, connecting the two, there you can see there, connecting these two. So you've got the connection for this one is going around the back of the top drive and coming out the top here. So it's going down the back just to come poke through there and connect to that one there. It's an absolute nightmare. It really isn't a very elegant way of doing it. And because of all of this, it means that the top IO, front IO here could not get through this slot here. So I had to route all the way across here to go to this slot here. There it is. So I couldn't put a fan in this position. Now you may ask, why didn't you go through there? Well, the motherboard was covering it. See the motherboard standoffs are there. So a bit of a pain. Again, when it comes to doing a lot of these, when it comes to doing a lot of micro ATX builds, I constantly find that of course they are going to be, but they seem to be a lot more well suited to mini ITX builds, so mini ITX motherboards and that sort of thing, and that just seems a little bit strange to me. I kind of think that let me see, just catch some things. No, I kind of think that it would be nice to be able to have like micro ATX cases that are actually really well suited to micro ATX motherboards, but this one seems to be doing sort of 90% there, but not quite. Not much space to work with. Yeah, no, there really isn't. I'm sort of just hanging on the edge of this table. But yeah, no. Thanks for the info though on the fading and stuff and the transition audio. That's something that I'm going to have to work out. There's going to be some sort of technical error that my lack of experience is not helping with. But anyway, but no, really appreciate you letting me know with that. But at least it isn't a constant problem, because that would be an absolute pain. So anyway, let's transition to this one here. But no, glad you guys are enjoying the stream somewhat, and lending your Sunday afternoons, or Sunday evenings actually, to helping me through this. Because hopefully we can do, this will be just more than just a singular one-time thing, and we can do this on a more regular basis, because I think it's going to be a really good use of time to be able to communicate with you guys, chat about previous videos, chat about upcoming videos, and that sort of thing. That one's going to be a bit of a pain to get out, so we'll leave it there. And yeah, so what we'll do is we'll route the, let's see, can I get that any lower? I don't think I can. Not easily anyway. I could, but the tripod is not very advanced. What I might be able to do is raise the table. I might try that. Actually, no, we'll forget it. That'll just be way too complicated. I'll do the old box trick and get a little bit more height, just to be able to pull these cables out. We'll unplug as well the SATAs from the drives if we can. Okay, that might be impossible. What we're going to do actually is revert all of that, and we're going to unscrew all of the drives, and hopefully that'll work better. I'll also re-angle this for you guys, because I'm nice like that. There you go. Should be a better angle for you. Awesome. Oh, not on the table, I was talking about the case. Okay, sorry. Not a room to work. I was talking workspace area rather than actual case itself. Just going to catch up on some chat. Some spaces to raise the SSD. Yeah, that would be really interesting. Yes, that would be really interesting. Having some spaces, spacers over here, just to make sure that would be a really interesting way of doing it. I haven't actually seen any of those, and I would like to see if there are any in existence. But I suppose just having some extra long sort of 2.5-inch screws would work fine for that. And then having some washers to bulk it out. And that would work really well, actually. And I suppose that would be really cool, because if you had lighting, then you could have a shadow gap behind the SSD. And instead of it being completely flush, if you wanted that style of build, having this sort of pop-out effect with a shadow gap between it all would actually be a really nice effect. More chat. Just got the fractal define CTG. So nice. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful case. Very easy to work with. Lots of cable management room. Cable management room in here is absolutely abominable. The bulge helps, but there's not enough room back here. But the mini C tempered glass is really good for that. I enjoyed the build in that. Maybe separate on the mic for one audio. I've actually got separate. Well, I've got separate scenes set up with the USB webcam and the integrated webcam to be able to sort that out and hopefully have them on 2 separate channels essentially. So essentially we've got in the first scene, now I'm probably doing this incorrectly due to my horrendous experience with all this, but the first scene is the USB webcam mic, USB webcam setup, and that has the Samsung Meteor mic attached to it. And then the other scene is separate from it but has the same microphone being used. But I still don't understand how it's all duplicating it. I suppose it's taking the same audio source and playing it back, and there's a slight delay between the two, which is a bit of a pain, but maybe in the future I could get an extra mic or something to work out. The C920 might actually be able to do a decent job by itself, but we'll work that out in the future. But yeah, thanks for the info on that. So yeah, okay, I'm caught up. Get back to dismantling. So I'm going to go with getting the SSDs out because we really don't need those. I'm actually going to remove that extender as well and go with the other one. I'm surprised I found that so quickly. Just because trying to disconnect all these SSDs in the process is not very simple. Again, not using the ratchet on here because the audio from that would be probably more terrible than you'd be able to bear. So I'm trying to be nice to your ears, especially if you're using headphones. Although the clattering around is probably not helping with everything. Yeah, I think my inexperience with OBS is probably what's causing a lot of these problems. So these sorts of things we'll be working on, trying to clean out and iron out. I will be looking to get some graphics, maybe, I want to hold that, maybe some lower third stuff going on, and the logo, the excellent logo that was made by Ryan Bashel, yeah, which I mentioned before, but it really was a great piece of work that he sent over in order to sort of support the channel and get just some decent logos and banners and stuff like that. I've used some in videos as backgrounds for when I'm flashing information across. It really is absolutely fantastic. Sounds good all in all. That's fantastic. I was actually, when I got the Samsung Meteor, it's a really interesting looking mic. I did my research into trying to find out what's going to be the best one, and I'll switch transition back. While I'm doing this, just for a little bit of conversation. I did a fair bit of research trying to work out what was the best mic to go for, and the budget, and the USB mics, stuff like that. I really didn't want to spend up to £100. Didn't really have that kind of cash flying around for sort of equipment that I had to keep. Flashing that kind of cash to be able to get like a something that's going to be really beneficial for the channel all in all. I suppose audio is one of those, but in terms of at that time when I was doing videos, when I was actually still running off the old Fujifilm camera, which you might be able to see in the background there, which I showed earlier, I had to go with something that was budget and was reasonable. The Samsung Meteor seemed to have good reviews, seemed to do pretty well, so I got that. I was looking into the Blue Yeti, and I was looking into the, I think it's the Blue Snowball, because those are sort of legendarily well audio solutions for doing sort of, you know, recording and stuff like that. But I didn't want to plunge on the Snowball because I just didn't really feel it was the audio solution I wanted. I didn't think it was that good. I thought that the audio from it is great, but in terms of getting audio that you can sort of set down, you know, half a meter away and be okay with, I really didn't think it was up to the scratch with that. Again, with the Blue Yeti is a fantastic mic. I think that has got the range capability. I don't think this mic I'm using now, the Samsung Meteor, is the ideal solution. I actually have a better mic for that, which is the, I can't remember what these things are called. It's up there somewhere. The Rode Pro M something Pro whatever. That's a pretty good one. It's a shotgun mic. It has a little bit more range on it, but that requires batteries, and it requires me to plug it in with a really small cable and have an extender and that sort of thing. And that's sort of stuff you just want to avoid if you have to run things off batteries and stuff. More trouble than it's actually worth. So I sort of gave up on doing that. It was something that I was potentially going to use for this live stream, but yeah, I will stick with this for now. If is it tinny audio at all? Is it, you know, a little bit off, like I'm talking in the far distance? One thing I'm actually very surprised with this whole stream going on so far is that my laptop is holding up. Let's transition back. I have to do this much. I think OBS has got some sort of ability to be able to switch with keys. Trying to get the light back. There you go. I'm actually on the wrong one. It's annoying, the delay that comes through from YouTube. I can't really reduce that much. There's low latency apparently in terms of the setting I selected, but it's not low latency enough. Anyway, so I think what I'm going to do is, before we take out all sorts of other things, is get rid of the power supply unit. Let's do that next. Whoop, gee whiz. But anyway, all in all, how is everything going? The quality seems to be okay. And sort of, in terms of pace, are we up with pace? Is the pace fast enough? Do we need to speed up the build? Because hopefully we will be sorted in half an hour. So that'll be a 2-hour live stream. That's a pretty good one for a starter. I'm going to change your angle a little bit there. There you go. There you go. Try and not knock everything off the desk. There you go. Cool. So anyway, moving on to some more of the stuff. Now, this is clearly a very bad idea in terms of unscrewing it this way, but I haven't got a very good setup for you guys to see. So I'm also going to be using my mouth to grab screws, and again, not a good idea. I don't recommend it, but it works and it's all I've got. In terms of videos coming up then, so with that budget video, I'm going to have to try to get rid of the ratchet because that's just force of habit. So for the budget then, we're sort of going to go with potentially a 1050 Ti. I think Ti would be where I want to be at. I'm not sure. I want to know what the... Something I haven't looked into. I can't remember. I did look into it. What the difference in terms of graphical capability between the 2400G and the 1050 was like. I think the 1050 Ti has an edge over it, but that's something I want to look into. But again, I need to look into more results that people are posting out. So yeah. So paste doesn't matter. Fantastic. No, fantastic. You guys really appreciate you guys hanging around to this sort of stuff. The support is amazing. Okay, there's something. No hands now, and it's holding itself just because the sheer amount of cables cluttering the whole space. Obviously, I'm going to have a hand there just to make sure it doesn't fall out. Then we can tip that. Let's get rid of the box. Oh, I need more space for this. Needed more space in the case, and I need more space out of the case. So let's lean that back so you guys got a view. Of course, one thing I completely negate is making sure that all the drives are disconnected. Now they are. There's just so many connectors. It's me rushing things. Sometimes happens when I'm recording for actual videos. But anyway, moving on from the budget build ideas and stuff like that, because I think I've discussed that and sort of repeated things for that for a little bit too much. I wanted to do the build going up a mountain. I thought that would be really good. I think it's going to be one of those things. There's a lot of people that get very angsty about doing work on systems and stuff like that. About anti-static wrist straps and stuff like that. I think if you're sensible, if you're not being an absolute idiot, and you're trying to light your system on fire, you're going to be okay. So going up a mounting, I think, would be a little bit of a sort of, well, even though it's not like a sort of a high static environment, it would be something to be like, look, don't be too concerned. Although going up somewhere like, if you've seen images, a mountain, sort of a local-ish mountain to me, is Pen y Fan. If you type in Pen y Fan on Google, you'll see what it looks like. It's not huge, it's pretty big, but it's not huge. It's not like climbing up, say, Snowdon, which is sort of North Wales. But it's big enough to be like, right, if you're sitting at the bottom and it's sunny and you get to the top, it might not be so sunny. It might be foggy, cloudy, very humid. So building conditions for a computer there would be terrible, and that's one thing I want to avoid. I want to do something a bit out there, but I don't want to do something that's stupid, because I mean I haven't got all the money in the world to burn here. You can imagine. I've got enough to keep this channel running, but not all the money in the world to burn. So that's getting connected to that somehow. Somehow cables do that. So yeah, so up a mountain would be fun. I don't know who I'm going to go with. I think I kind of need the muscle, so Joe would be the go-to for that. I might need to have like some sort of wheelie trailer to be able to like carry all the boxes up, because I mean boxes are heavy at the best of times with all the stuff in. It would definitely be a really mini ITX build, and we wouldn't be doing testing up there because I haven't got that sort of external power. Although if a sponsor wanted to give us an external battery that could run a computer, I'd be more than happy to try. But yeah, so that would be something that I would be definitely looking into doing. Again, not sure with what system it's going to be in, not sure when, but sorry for the noise. It's something that is on the cards. But I also had an idea not long ago, sort of on the side there. there's a lot of things balancing there, but that'll do. I had an idea not that long ago. I suppose it's the first time I thought of it. It was quite a while back. But I thought, what is it? There are most people that build computers, I can imagine, for the majority of people, because the majority of people don't have certain issues that I'm about to discuss, but most people will be using two hands. Now I was thinking I would like to make a video with some sort of recommendations for some people that perhaps don't have that ability, the ability to have two hands working on a system for whatever reason. So I'd like to do some sort of build where I can find components that I would recommend that if you only have one hand available to do the work with, that you should use and you should look out for. So types of components, like would you look for a CPU cooler with push pins? You know, would they be a good idea? I'm trying to weigh up the options. I want to see more different styles of mounting options for CPU coolers, so I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews of those things to see if I can find a particular CPU cooler that has a mounting option other than push pins, because they're pretty ubiquitous between all of them, that would be helpful in that sort of circumstance. In terms of the case, having a case that is super easy to cable manage. You don't have to worry at all about cable management. Having something that is, I mean, spacious enough, but potentially micro ATX. I do think the micro ATX form factor is the most ideal for most people, but is that just going to be a pain for somebody who has only got one arm to work with, and that sort of thing. So I'm going to be looking into that at some point. Let me know if you think that's the most horrendous idea I've come up with yet, or if it's something that is actually worth doing. I think personally, it's pretty neat way of a neat thing to try out. I'm going to reset this camera, and I'm going to do it without transitioning to it first. So we're already improving. That's why, because I mean the space I'm working with here is not amazing, but it's workable. It's workable. I'm not going to complain too much. It's probably lopsided, is probably what it is, but it is. Let's transition to that and have some water, because I'm getting a very dry throat. So let's go with fans next, because those cables are somewhat annoying. There we go. I'm going to put my hand through the power supply unit thing just so I don't get in the way so much. These were a pain in the butt to install. Trying to get this angle, like I could not do this with the power supply unit in, obviously, and with the motherboard in, and with the CPU. Well, the motherboard would be fine. CPU cooler, no. So this is only able to do this from this angle in this way, because there's basically nothing in the chassis. If you're looking to get this case, or you've got it on order, definitely get these front fans in first. Get all the fans sorted out first and foremost, and get those cables routed in places you want them to be. Certainly recommend that. Catching up with some comments. I've sort of been skipping by them for a second while I've been talking nonsense. Let's see. No, it's good. Good quality. Nice, cool. Oh, I already saw that. Would you rather buy an iPad Pro or a laptop that costs £250? Oh gosh. I'm gonna transition back. Yeah, this is not. I mean, you can see what I'm doing here. This is not what you should do. This is probably a better angle as well, seeing it. iPad Pro or a laptop that costs £250? I mean, have you seen a laptop that costs £250? They're pretty bad. I think an iPad Pro would be better, I think. Because I mean, if you're looking at £250 for a laptop, you're going to be looking at like a 32 gig eMMC storage, and 32 gig is, I mean, is that not? Do you get more with an iPad Pro? I'm not a huge fanboy for like iPad stuff or anything, or Apple stuff, but in fact, I'm not a fanboy for Apple stuff at all. But I think in terms of like, if you're spending £250 and you can get yourself an iPad Pro, wow, this is really bad angle. Then that's probably where you're going to want to be at for that thing. Don't know, with an idea like that, as a healthy person, to do a vid like that these days, I wouldn't mind. But a lot of social worries today. If you had a friend with a disability, that could be a unique approach. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have a friend with a disability like that. I was just, because there was somebody we actually had somebody come into university and was talking about You need a guy with only one hand to make that vid. Yeah, the idea first sprung up when I was thinking back to university, when a guy came in to talk about how buildings don't cater very well for the disabled, and when designing buildings you should keep that in mind. You need to keep in mind that the users and that sort of stuff, and obviously I try my best in like a sort of career approach to do that, because it makes the most sense. But I was also thinking then when I was looking back to there that, I mean, okay, here's the thing. If I don't have a friend that has that disability, and I'm not saying like let's go make a friend, because that would be probably offensive. You know, just trying to make a friend with somebody, that would be very offensive. But that's not what I had in mind. I was thinking, well, if I don't, I'm pretty sure somebody already has, but if I don't do that, then how many other videos are going to be about that do cover that subject? That one's a little bit awkward, so I'm going to switch and transition back. So how many other people are going to cover that subject? So let's say if somebody was looking for, you know, recommendations, because, you know, they've only got one hand available to be able to do their build, and then they can't find any recommendations. I kind of feel that since I have the idea, if I didn't do it, I might be doing a sort of a disservice to those in that situation. And I might very well have a couple of viewers. I don't know the sort of percentages of people, like 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 or something that don't have, you know, that don't have two hands available to be able to do this sort of stuff. But I potentially have maybe 1 or 2 viewers that are in that situation, and this might be able to help them out quite a lot. And it also would perhaps make people more aware of that sort of thing. So perhaps when they're in their respective industries, they might think more about designing for people with those sorts of everyday struggles that they have to do. So yeah, I'm back and forth with that sort of thing. I don't want to be offensive. I do feel that I have the ability to be able to bring through that kind of video in a positive way very, very easily, because it's very easy to be quite sympathetic in that sort of circumstance. I feel anyway. I don't think it's. I think you'd be one hell of a person to screw that up in that sense, especially when you're doing just a standard video and not like something live, because you've got a lot of time to think, rework things if you feel that they were perhaps not working and were actually giving a vibe that was negative when that's not the thing you were going for. But yeah, so I think it's something to think about more. I think it's something that needs a little bit more work perhaps. So yeah, those 2 screws, by the way, for the top drive. Now that is a hard disk drive that is in one of these sort of tooth and screw slots. I don't know what they're called, but essentially you just slot 2 teeth into the side, and then you screw in the other 2. So yeah, that into the other side. It's a really good way of doing it. It's a hard disk drive I was using with that. I actually wanted to try and see if that was a viable solution for a hard disk drive to store them, and it turns out, yeah, they do a pretty good job. Okay, I'm going to put that... No, I won't do that. Putting the water over there. I'm not putting it on the power supply unit. That'll probably get me in trouble with many people. So where are the drives? There they are. Drive. Let's go over there. They'll be going on the test bench. I think, what's the time now in terms of this? So we're about 1 hour, let's say 30, minus the stupidity at the start. So we are bare bones at the moment, apart from that one drive at the top transition to be able to check out. So the removal of this drive is a bit of a pain, and I won't go about removing the leg first, because that would just be a huge waste of everyone's time. Wow, it's such a light case. The hard drive is sort of teetering the balance of that at the 1/3 mark. Yeah, it's amazing when you start off with these budget cases, because they genuinely are super, super lightweight. But yeah, so anyway, I will have a little think about that kind of video. I'll think more about it and see what I come up with. Where are all these screw holes? Am I going for the one? I'm going for the wrong ones. That was for the legs. So I'll have a little bit more of a think about that. I think it would be super useful though. I think it would be super useful. I think when it comes to all of us working in all the jobs that we're working in, we can always do that little bit more to make it more common. No, what's the word? Sort of, or make whatever we're doing more approachable to people that aren't the same as us. You know, in that sense. You know, so if you can do something to make it easier for minorities to get involved, or people with disabilities to get involved, or you know, for everyone, just absolutely everyone to get involved with whatever you're doing, then that's surely, you know, a more positive thing than negative. I think there will be a lot of, like people say, keyboard warriors that are there to just cause trouble. I do believe that to be the case, but I think if we were to sort of build this channel around just keyboard warriors doing stuff, because I mean I've had plenty of keyboard warriors, not against anything political. That's interesting. There you go. I've had plenty of keyboard warriors, not with anything political, but just with stupid stuff, like people getting irritated because I got a certain thermal result with the 6700K, and they're just like, well, I've got this processor and it's cooler and whatever, and it's like, well, yeah, your processor's like 65 watts, mate. It's not 91 watts at standard. And I've seen test results, I think, from, was it Tom's Hardware or something, where like the 6700K under auto settings goes up to like 170 watts. It's unbelievably ridiculous. But yeah, so that is an unboxed QS-400. Or 240. I forget these things. What we do need to do is replace the fan for this, because I mean this is as it was, so if we're going to do a proper job of this, then we're going to do that as well. Not try and make too much noise, sorry for that. Let's see if we got original screws. That's not an original screw. That's not an original screw. Where's the original screw for this? I don't know. I'll just get 4 screws that look the same. Somebody can't be too annoyed at that. Yeah, anyway. So I'll certainly look into that style of video. I think it's something that's worth doing. Sorry, force of habit, trying to keep the ratchet off so you guys don't get the noise. But anyway, we will be soon transitioning then most of this equipment over to the Core P3. I was actually potentially looking into getting the Core P1. Not as a replacement for the open test bench. No. Just for a review, because I just think it's such an interesting, cool case. I think if you have the ability right now to check out another tab and look at the Core P1, I mean that thing just looks amazing. And now, when I actually started this channel with a negative approach to Thermaltake, due to the potential issues with potential copying of designs and that sort of stuff, and I had a negative impression of Thermaltake to begin with, but there were people that were saying, well, you know, this is, you know, only one situation, or it's not true, or whatever, and whether it was true or not, I should have given them another chance. Now I did give them another chance with the Versa H15, which was a pretty good case. I can't complain with it. It was it had decent thermals. It was a decent case to build in. It had a few rough edges here and there, but I mean, what case, you know, what was it, £30 doesn't have a few rough edges? Well, this is a case that is £30 and doesn't have rough edges. Again, still getting the ratchet do its thing. But yeah, so I gave them a second chance with the H15, and I was relatively surprised. I thought, well, that's really interesting. Then I was looking into open air test benches, and when I was looking to do reviews for coolers, and I was just looking at everything. There was some really odd ones. There's one that Linus Tech Tips has right now, and even though it's versatile, it's just not that versatile. It's sort of just, it's like a flat pack IKEA set just made out of aluminium. It's a cool idea, it's interesting, but generally any open air test bench or open test bench you get is going to be expensive because they don't sell very many of them. They have to manufacture so little amounts, and they have to design, you know, a lot or just as much, potentially more, so for that open air test bench than they would with just a standard case. So the costs go up because there's just the amount of units they sell is very limited. So that was a bit of a pain. I also checked out Lee open air test benches. Interesting, but again, they just look like a pain to work with. They just look really difficult to get all the parts in, get the right angles and that sort of thing. I don't think it's a time take for that, and using aluminium rods for the longest time now. Just recently switching. Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, I think they made a massive turnaround from like 2 years ago. Yeah, they really did a great job of turning around their products. Can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, so the Lee and Lee open air test benches, interesting. Just look like a pain in the butt to work with, and I was really struggling. I was going to be going with the Streacom STV1 whatever, which is the one that Lions Tech Tips has. The one that Jace2 Sense has, God, that thing costs so much, and I don't know why. It's, I mean, you could make a crude format of, you know, sheet metal, you know, not with that much of an issue. You could probably do that at your local high school or whatever, you know, with a mill, with just a standard mill with, you know, handles and stuff, which is, you know, which is pretty simple to do. But it just costs so much. I think that's just it's just a premium on the brand or something or whatever. It doesn't make much sense. But the Core P3, I was very interested in because it just seemed to be the most usable case going. It just seemed you can lie it down flat, you can have it on its side propped up like I have in the configuration back there, as with the other ones, the P7, the P5, P1. They can do whatever you like with them. And they don't seem to have such a high low production amount or production total. And they don't have the premium for the cost on that in terms of their production figures. So yeah, I mean, it was something like £100 for the Thermaltake Core P3 when I bought it, and yeah, it was just way more usable than the other ones. I don't really see much quality in lots of the other ones. They seemed a little bit shoddy. And if you've seen the sort of steel on the Core P3, it's unbelievable. It's built like a tank, and it's got I think it's about maybe 3-4 millimeter steel mounts for hanging on your wall. That thing is built like a tank. It's like 1 mil thick steel, like continuous all around the whole thing. And this is like, you know, 0.5 mil aluminium or something in here. Weighs nothing. Yeah, that thing out of the box is like 25 kilos by itself, and this thing is probably like, I mean, 1 or maybe 2, just by the case and by the chassis. So yeah, very interesting. Just recently switched P90 now. P90 now. Have I seen the P90? I might have seen the P90. I won't go and search it now though, because that would just detract. So I've been sitting here talking about this for way too long. I'm just going to stick the panels back on, and then we can move on to rebuilding up the test bench. I think that's probably the wisest thing to do now. Getting a really hoarse throat at the moment. I'll throw that over there. Okay, so let's get all the panels back on. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Should be a lot easier than it was to get everything off, because we haven't got anything in there anymore. Where is the front panel? Well, the top panel. Again, these cables, not super happy about these cables. Really would have wished these to be just different colors, different, you know, everything pretty much about them should be pretty much different. Sorry for the noise. Yeah. When you've got an empty case, everything becomes very hollow. Hollow sounding. So yeah, so then we've got this panel, so that way round. Not a comfy sound, but at least I gave you some time to be able to turn down your, you know, I should have warned you, perhaps, like warning of strobes and stuff like that, but yeah, I didn't, sorry. Okay, so side panels now. We'll just do the front side panel just because it's the one I found first, and it's not, well, from what I can remember, the other one is sat underneath a pile of stuff. Is it on? It's on. Cool. Let's get the screws. Again, screws on here. They're sort of just standard ones, plastic ones. We haven't transitioned that. There we go. Look at that. So yeah, they're sort of very standard screws. They got plastic, well, very cheap screws. Got a plastic outer cover for them, but they work. And for £30, that's all you're paying for. I want something that works. Here's £30, and that's what you get. I really do implore you get this if you are tentative about it. The only thing that I would say is the only thing that potentially stopping you is you don't like the look of it. It doesn't look good. But that's subjective. Everyone has choices, different choices, those sorts of things. I've heard people go for the Versa H15 over like the fractal design because they prefer the look of the Versa H15, and even though it's a substantially inferior case, they still go for it. And it is a substantially inferior case. It just objectively, it's an inferior case. Apart from maybe its size, I think it's a little smaller. But yeah, I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a super clean build, then the Define Mini C tempered glass, really good case. Also the Master Box Light 3.1 tempered glass version. I really wish I'd go back and review that now, because that case is, for the cost as well, it's like £50 or less. It's like £45–50 for a tempered glass case. Absolute madness. Again, my throat getting very hoarse. Talking for what? 2 hours now? Nearly? Oh. I respond to your messenger. I will get back to that when I get back to that. Not very soon. Probably in about an hour. But yeah, having problems with Fortnite from what I can remember. Stuff like that. I had a problem with World of Tanks when it came to Windows 10 had an update, and World of Tanks said that it was something to do with Windows 10, nothing to do with them, and they couldn't do anything about it. And yeah, that just sounds like absolute bull. Yeah, so there must be more than one person with that problem then if it's something to do with Windows 10. And yeah, there's plenty of other games that are working which are on Windows 10, so they should probably get that together and sort that out. But anyway, that's gaming stuff. So yeah, running ads recently on it. P99 running ads recently on it. Oh, okay, so, right, okay, cool. I'll go check this out. Fantastic. Right, so, let's get the test bench forward. But yeah, this thing by itself, just absolute monster. Absolute monster. But yeah, I'm actually going to go into a more detailed view of this, just because just seeing the construction of this thing. So yes. Be nice if it gave us a little bit more light. That would be good. I would hold this up, but it's just too heavy. So if you can see, potentially, if I move this a little bit closer, no, there's no way you're going to be able to check that out. The exposure is terrible. But that's like 1mm thick steel, and it's all around. And then if you can see a little bit further down, that there, the thickness of that, it's not bent down or anything. That's just its thickness. It's like 3mm steel. Just this huge thing you can mount it on the wall with. Just absolutely amazing, amazing construction quality. So if you were looking for something that is just super, super heavy and strong and rugged, and it's going to last you a long time, this is the case for you. You might scratch the paint a little bit, but it's industrial sprayed aluminium or spray steel. So again, powder coated. It's not going to go anywhere. So anyway, let's get, I think, the drives installed, and then that's pretty much it, I think. We've already got the cooler installed. That's the M9, which you can see the box for up there. Cryorig M9. First impressions of it so far, interesting. Interesting. Not amazing, but interesting. I do think it's something that's worth checking out. I think the mounting mechanism is the bit which I'm interested on. So it's very difficult to, I don't want to talk about too much because obviously that's what the review video is for, but yeah, I'm also trying to find out an angle that I can do this with that is not horrible. Maybe this would be the angle, or not. I don't know, that's a tricky one. I don't know. What I'll do, I think, actually is turn it to this way, switch the camera angle. That's a pretty cool camera angle. Move the keyboard, move everything else, and then yeah. So maybe you're getting a bit more of an idea of how I work and how this channel is running. And maybe you're more surprised about how I work and how this channel is running, or how it's still running. But yeah, it's just running. It's running purely on hours, not on, at the moment, skill. So we'll just carry on as we are and hope it carries on that way. Right. So I'm gonna I actually want to back up all of this stuff as well at some point. I've got like 5 drives that I actually need to run on a pretty much daily, not daily, at least a weekly basis. So I don't know. I'll work on that at some point. But anyway, VESA mount. Yes, VESA mount. Yeah, I think it's got a VESA 200 by 100, 50 by 50, 75, 75. Well, they're just called VESA 75 on there or something. I don't know. But yeah, super versatile. It's got a lot of different ways it can be mounted. I saw the 200, the 100 by 200. And I hadn't actually seen that VESA mount before, because I've only really seen them on monitors. Yes. Cool. So yeah, so we are pretty much coming to the closing ends of this stream. So I will have to, I don't know, wrap up with stuff. Have I got anything else in terms of upcoming videos that I'm working on? If I had my other hand in the back there, that would be easier. There you go, now I do. Upcoming videos, I don't really know. Trying to work out what I've got. I'm going to be doing this M9 review, which I'm in the stages of now. I haven't started doing the script for that. I'm hoping that I'm only going to be doing like 2,000 words for it this time, because I mean the last review, the review on the QS-240 came up to like 4,200 words, and yeah, it was like 30 minutes long, and I'm supposed to be doing like 15 to 20 minutes, so clearly failed hard on that. I think it's probably worth flipping back because I'm having a chat. There you go. So yeah, so I clearly failed on that end. Should I be using these same screws? I don't know. We'll see. Because I'm just trying to work out not necessarily the screw type, but in terms of what screws need to go back with the case. But I've got plenty of screws to compensate, so I will use those. But yes, so I'm going to be doing the M9. That's going to be coming out soon, in the next, I'd say, a week, maybe. It's really hard at the moment because it's really hard. It's a little tricky at the moment. Working things, because at the moment I'm working like a substantial amount of overtime in work. I'm working like an extra, essentially 2 days a week. So it's like a 7-day week, but in 5 days. So yeah, so I think I did something like, it was 14.5 hours overtime this week, and I don't think it's going to be as much, or last week, I don't think it's going to be as much this week. I'm hoping not anyway, because I mean these videos just get delayed, and you know, I'm taking this relatively seriously, so I want to make sure that I'm actually getting the videos out at a decent pace. But yeah, so it's just got a lot of overtime, so appreciate the patience, appreciate you guys having patience for these videos coming out, especially when and this is something that I find really difficult to work out, the type of things that I'm reviewing. So doing a CPU cooler review, it's one of those things. Oh yeah, I've completely screwed that thread up the last time I screwed that in. Just completely, what do you call it? I don't know. Screwed the thread up. I de-threaded it. Something to it. But yeah, so in terms of what I review, doing like a CPU cooler review, most people probably don't want to see a CPU cooler review. And that's, you know, yeah, it's, don't know. It's difficult because I do want to cover more stuff, but I also want to make sure that I'm not disappointing people in what they want to see. If you don't want to see a CPU cooler review, and I can imagine most people are like, well, I don't really care about CPU cooler review. It's a CPU cooler, I already have one, you know. People who are subscribed probably want to see more of what I've done in the past. But then again, I do have to grow. So yeah, strip the thread. That's the one. Stripped it. There you go. So yeah, so I don't know. It's difficult. I want to venture out. I want to do other stuff. I do need to. Are CPU coolers the way to go? Potentially. I do want to do a keyboard review at some point because my keyboard died long ago. It's probably 2 months ago, maybe. So yeah, that was the Roccat Rios MK Pro. Wow, the lighting's really terrible right now. I really apologize for that. I think it's because this has come into it and it's adjusting exposure because this is white and it's reflecting so much. Anyway, this is the Roccat Rios MK Pro, and I paid way too much for it. Not because it wasn't sort of worth it, but I spent sort of more money than I should have spent on it at the time getting it. I did like it though, and that was my first like cherries on mechanical keyboard, mechanical switch keyboard, and I enjoyed using it and it was great fun. I would like to get some MX Cherry Browns. I'd like to try those because I did like the extra resistance, but I would like a tactile bump, but I don't want to have like Cherry Blues just clicking away. So yeah, so that's that. We've got drives in. So yeah, and because this is an open air test bench, everything stays super cool and you don't necessarily need to do anything other than that. Let's get some SATA and power and stuff to them. Trying to get a different view of this so that everything doesn't get too stale. Could do with raising the table or lowering that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this very quickly. We'll see how that goes. Is that enough? I'm exposing all the behind the scenes stuff that I didn't want to expose, but I suppose maybe if I tweak that a little bit, it'll be less horrible. I don't know, I think really shot on this right now. But anyway, so yeah, let's get all this sort of stuff sorted out. But yeah, in terms of videos, in terms of what I produce and how much I'm producing nowadays, I'm subscribed to, I'm not sure if any of you guys subscribe to as well, I'm subscribed to Super Bunny Hop, and I really enjoyed watching his videos on Metal Gear Solid. I've never played Metal Gear Solid, and I'm probably never going to play Metal Gear Solid, but I just really enjoyed watching his work on it, and he did an amazing job of the reviews. So yes, you may be able to tell that I have... Have I really screwed this up? I don't think so. I think I just need to raise this. I can't remember which configuration I had this in before. I think I've got it in this configuration. It's quite hard to place several drives right next to each other, especially when they have opposing connectors, and especially when you don't want to use more connectors than you have to. I don't want to put in 3 different SATA connectors for 3 different drives because I couldn't reach the other ones. Which one did I? Was that the last one? No, I did that one. Cool. Oh, that's the one I stripped. Cool. So yeah, so I really enjoyed watching his stuff, but since I subscribed to him on Patreon as well, because I mean his work is fantastic. His work is still fantastic. It's just it seems since he went onto Patreon and started increasing stuff, increasing his ability to produce stuff, he's actually producing less content. I think he's producing less of the content that I subscribe to him to watch, but I'm still going to support him on Patreon because I mean he does really good work and he obviously deserves it. And I've watched so many hours of his videos already that I think it's worth giving him a little bit back. But yeah, I mean that's what Patreon's for, right? But anyway, so yes, but since he started doing Patreon, that sort of stuff, it seems that his content has slowed down, and I don't want to go down the same road. But I think he's probably building up for something else, or he might have problems. Everyone has problems. Everyone's got a bad period of time. So I think that's one of those things which I always try and keep in mind when I make comments about people, because they could be going down for a rough period of time, and that would suck. So then especially don't need people when you're going for a rough period of time ragging on you because you're not making a video. Those people can get lost. So yes, okay, good. I think we're all good. So those connected. It's all relatively well cable managed here. It's not amazing, but it could, could be worse. So yes, that's that. Ugh. This thing still weighs so much. And now we just need to install the graphics card. One thing I would like to do is reset the water cooling setup on this test bench, because it was so good. It was way more fun doing water cooling or playing games and stuff on, when I've got a little bit of time in the nights with a water-cooled GTX 1070 than a something other thing, a R9 390X. I mean, it's so much nicer doing a water-cooled games on a water-cooled 1070, no doubt. The one thing that I find that was really irritating is that I made, before I did my water-cooled build, is that not the right screw? Feels as if it's the right screw, but I just don't know. I'll have to work that out. But before I did the first build, let's see if I just screw it instead. Before I did the first proper big build on this channel, I'm going to hold it that way, just so I've got some support on the graphics card when I rotate. And before I did my first build, I was doing it in the Fantex Enzo Evolve M8X, not tempered glass. That's one thing that I really wish I had done, is wait for the tempered glass edition. But I think if I did wait for the tempered glass edition, which wasn't announced when I started doing that video, I might not be doing videos like this. So anyway, completely losing my train of thought at the moment. I think that's what happens when you talk for 2 hours in a row. It's kind of like talking to yourself to them, although you are talking to people. I mean, there's still 5 people watching. Thank you very much for sticking around. Really appreciate that. Hopefully I haven't gone too quiet because I'm on the other side of the case from what the mic is. So that's that installed, and if you need to give it some power, so there we go. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. The water cooling of the GTX 1070. Now, I got that card just before I started doing the water cooling for the Fantex Enzo Evolve M8X case, which is still there. I'm keeping that case. That's my case. I'm not selling that one. And I did wreck it to get the bigger radiator in. And at some point in the future, I'm probably going to rebuild that build because I think it was a good build. But yeah, so I got the 1070 and the water cooling gear very much at a similar sort of time when I was thinking of doing the build for the Fantex Enzo Evolve M8X. So you're not assuming stuff. Chat is silent, and you keep going with ideas. Thank you very much. I'm sort of losing my mind at the moment, though. You can probably hear I'm stumbling over my words, and I'm getting a little tired. And I haven't actually eaten since about 11 o'clock, so I probably could do with some food. But anyway, so yeah, so I got the GTX 1070 not like too long before I did the build then. I got it for that build, but before then I'd already bought all of the water cooling gear that you can see in the background, including a still unopened water cooling block and the backplate for the R9 390X. Now here's the thing, if I was smarter, I would probably not talk while walking away from the mic. I would probably have water cooled the R9 390X and done all my thermal tests with the R9 390X water cooled and overclock it and get all that sort of stuff going on before, and then have the GTX 1070 for the air-cooled build, because then I'd still have some pretty awesome stuff, pretty awesome quality in terms of the sort of processing ability from the R9 390X with a good overclock. So instead of being at like 1.1 gigahertz, I could probably put it up to like 1.4 maybe, and get it somewhat close to like a 1050 Ti 1050. That's a 1050, and that's not even that good. Not a very good card, but it's okay. But anyway, I'd have it closer to that sort of level than have it the other way around, where this can only go to like 1.1 gigahertz before it's you know, screaming for more cooling or anything like that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm shot now, but I do have a system that is pretty much good to go. Now, unfortunately, the power and the HDMI cable is strapped together in one bundle, and the display port cable is strapped together in one bundle on the laptop that I'm using. And I'm pointing at you because you're being run on my laptop, and that integrated camera is what I'm sort of looking to and is streaming to you. A huge shout out to the laptop, by the way, which has actually managed to keep the stream up and going, and it's only running at 21% CPU usage, so that's pretty cool. I think it's done a really good job. That laptop I was actually looking into in terms of its streaming capability, and because it's got 4 cores, it's a 4-core i7, it's a MQ. It's a something MQ, 47 MQ, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't really keep a huge log on the specs of the laptop. But it's got a dedicated graphics card. It's got a 4-core, 8-thread CPU. So it clearly has some sort of capability. What does your 1070 run at? 1070 is just running, it runs itself. And I have seen 2 GHz when it's running itself. And now that is strange because it's only a 1070, but I think because it's on water and the overclock capability is sort of, or its clocking capability is sort of left up to itself, it sort of just runs itself, and it'll do that because it's got the cooling overhead to do that. So yeah, it runs something like 1900, and then I've seen it go to 2 GHz, which is really odd. And sort of unbelievable. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, so I've got a pretty good one. It is a 4:1 edition, so I think it is one of those ones which is cherry-picked for its ability to overclock. My 1070 is pegged at on water. Nice, very good. Yeah, that's something. One thing that I haven't really done a lot of is I haven't really overclocked much. I've overclocked here and there. I've dabbled, but I haven't really done anything like pushing much. I generally, it seems like a cop-out to say, oh, well, I generally go for sort of longevity and reliability and stuff, but like realistically, I actually want to overclock and that sort of stuff, but I kind of don't want to destroy something by pushing too hard, because I would want to push as hard as I could go with that sort of thing, and as long as the temperatures are stable, generally it's fine, but obviously pushing too hard on clock speed is not going to be a great idea. But on water, it's relatively safe. So maybe I should try that at some point. But at the moment, yeah, it's something like 2. So it's good to know that you've got a 212. Yeah, that was weird. You can see I'm getting super tired now. My speech is starting to die out. 2156 or 2126 megahertz on water. Yeah, okay, that makes me feel a little better about my own. Doesn't sound so unrealistic. Anyway, I've basically got everything sorted now, so thank you so much for joining me. I'm actually going to lay that down over on the ground for a second while I wrap up, and I actually need to work out how do you stop a stream. That would have been a really cool way to stop the stream actually, and then just have my button lined up for stopping the stream. But yes, I think we've done really well though. I think we got up to 8 people on the stream, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and it's been the majority, it's been 5. That's fantastic. I mean, for a first stream that wasn't actually sort of set up or anything properly. What do we got? Plus 125 on core, 450 on RAM. Very nice. RAM is something I've actually never overclocked. Yeah, not been something I've overclocked at all. But yeah, I would certainly have to look into that. Anyway, oh yeah, we forgot. No, got to start again. I'm presuming the RAM is for the card, not the RAM. Well, it could be. But then again, so right, let's get. Why did I choose the worst? Let's put. And why am I choosing really angles? That's another good question. Anyway, 5 people still watching. I would have thought you'd all tapered off because I've seemed to have gone a little bit, I don't know, weird over the last half an hour. I'm deteriorating, you can clearly see that happening. Let's see if I can give ourselves a little bit more lighting power as well. I can't work with lighting power, like too much lighting power. We were on 145 watt bulb, and now we're on an 80 and a 45 watt bulb. So 125 watts of power. There you go. Cool. And yeah, I actually would prefer it to, in terms of looks, the other way around, but the primary slots are the furthest away, and I want my 8 gig sticks, which are obviously larger ones, which technically run a little bit slower, to be on the primary channels, and then the 4 gig sticks can be on the secondary. So that's 24 gigs of RAM there in total. I do need to expand, so I would like to get another 2 sets of 8, or 2 sticks of 8, and make it 32 gig, but I also want to get 2 sets of 16 gig and make it a 32 gig. But anyway, I am absolutely shot now. I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely shot. I'm going to turn that last switch of light off, and then we will hit back to the first transition and work out how to turn this thing off. So, I'm back as well. No, I've done it wrong. I've done it wrong. Oh, that's bad. Okay. I switched back and switched back again. You can clearly tell that I'm absolutely buggered at this point. So yes, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been super awesome having your support. I presume I'm just gonna hit stop streaming on OBS, and it's just gonna kill it for me. And hopefully at this point I'll actually be able to upload this as well to YouTube. It should be saved on YouTube, and I should be able to do that if anybody wanted to check it out past this point. But a huge thank you guys. I'll just stick around just to say bye to all of you. But yeah, so let's see. Caden, I will get back to you on Facebook shortly once I've got the main rig set up, because obviously I haven't actually got a main rig set up right now, but I'll sort that out. And I will get onto a little bit of editing tonight, and hopefully that video will be up on YouTube within the next 5 days. But again, there's some delays, some overtime needs to be done in work, so these things happen. It's one of those things where when it comes to like architecture, I think it comes to any industry, when it gets to the end of the financial year, my voice is going sharp, then you get lots of clients coming to you saying, well, hey, we need to spend some money, because otherwise we're not going to have it next year. So yeah, you either got to spend it or you lose it. So yeah, awesome. Thanks to Zahaj. Thanks for the stream. Thank you very much for checking out. Thanks for hanging around. And yes, I will catch you maybe next week on a stream. I actually no, not next week on a stream, I don't think, because I haven't done a major build, but the Riatoro CR280, the first. This is why videos are much better to watch than streams, because you get better quality. The first mini ITX build on this channel, and it's actually, funny enough, my first mini ITX build full stop, but I think we've got the capability of doing it. That's one thing I've actually seen so many times with so many like adverts. Adverts are one of the most annoying things in the world, but they keep things going, I suppose. But a nice advert is great to watch, but a bad advert is just awful. Seen some adverts where you have people unboxing stuff, and I won't name things, but yeah, actually shouldn't have probably shown that side, because oh no, it's all greyed out. I don't know. But yeah, I see some adverts where it's like, oh, I'm going to I need to unbox something. Oh, how do you unbox it? I really hope I don't unbox it so badly. And just think, for God's sake, get over yourself. You've unboxed a box before. You've used a knife. Why don't you just stab someone? You'll be alright. But I think we've got the capability with the mini ITX builds from the micro ATX builds to be able to do a pretty damn good job. I might have to be using the Cryorig C7. This bad boy. There you go. The Cryorig C7, which we have done a review on, to be able to put into that case. I've still got to work out what I'm doing in terms of coolers for different types of reviews and that sort of thing. I want to have ideally I want to have 2 cooler types. I want coolers for big builds and coolers for small builds. But ideally, beyond that, you actually want 1 cooler for every build you do. So you'd have the CPU. So this is why I was talking to the Sickness1234 on the setup for all the different thermal tests. And ideally, I would be running with the C7 for everything, because it can fit into pretty much every case. And if this can fit into a micro ATX case, a mini ITX case, and of course will fit into an ATX case and an EATX case, which we're not going to review ATXs or EATXs, definitely not EATXs, for quite a long time, because I haven't got the stuff to put in an ATX case to make it worth saying this is a recommended case. Because, I mean, if you can cool something in a micro ATX case and you don't need any more capability than a micro ATX case, then why would you get an ATX case over that? But anyway, so yeah, so ideally the solution would be to have 1 CPU cooler for everything, and then you can test every single case identically and say, well, this case performs this well, and you can even cross-compare different sizes of cases to each other because the system is identical. But if you change the cooler on one system to, like the, say the PureRock Slim for a slightly bigger case, then you can't compare those 2 cases together. You can't compare them at all. So I'm gonna have to make some decisions on that. I'm getting some calls on my phone. I can't answer that. I'll call back if somebody's watching that. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream now. I've discussed way too much past the actual builds and what we intended to do, but I suppose some of you guys came just to say hi, just to talk and chat about stuff and see what's happening soon. So yeah, so the video's coming out next, M9, then the Rio Toro CR280, and that's it. Extra stuff stands to be cheaper. Yeah. That's true. Motherboards, sometimes you can get cheap, quite a lot of cheaper motherboards. M-ATX. So that's generally the case there. In terms of ATX cases and stuff, yeah, generally cheaper. But I think motherboards, you can get quite a lot of cheaper ones. In terms of getting a motherboard with 4 sticks of DDR4 capability, 4 RAM stick capacity, then sometimes I think the ATX would be a better option there in terms of cost, but in terms of general capability and stuff like that, yeah, the ATX will be better. But if you need that, I suppose. Anyway, right, I'm going to sign out before I just faint, or so I can get some food, get some drink, get some editing done, answer Caden on Facebook, because he's probably sent something there, or he did send something there probably an hour ago, and yeah. We have 8 people watching. I'm just about to sign out. Why? Why are people watching? 8 people. They'll all fall away soon. But anyway, thanks for checking out the stream, guys. I will catch you in the next video. Let me know in the comments of either if this stream, if it becomes a video or something, or other comments if you have any suggestions or things like that. Or let me know very quickly now, and I'll probably catch you. Again, good job. Help yourself well. See you soon. Excellent. Same to you, Sickness. And yeah, Haj, again, Haj, you've been here, first person here. Very, very well done. Expert Plays, we'll catch you next time. Tech Tip, catch you next time if you're around. Thanks for watching. If there's anyone else I'm scrolling through, I think you guys have been the ones. There we go. Those are all the guys that have been in the stream, in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thank you for everybody who hasn't been in the comments and checking this stream out. And I'm going to hit end on stop stream, and I hope it ends the stream. Because if it doesn't, I don't know. So anyway, I'll just check if there's anything here that's obvious. Doesn't seem to be. Basic info, doesn't say stop stream. I wonder if there's a thing saying how to stop a stream. Streaming editing software, optional features, go live. Great. Really great time you live. Great. Okay, it doesn't say stop. Alright. Okay guys, I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.